Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me for part 4 of my virtual Lunch and Learn series. My name is Dr. Trenese McNealy, and I just want to welcome you all here on today. I am the CEO of Dr. Trenese L. McNealy, LLC and Lachey's Design Boutique. I am also the author of Mommy's Goals versus Reality, Managing School, Work, and Family, and the co-author of the Glambituous Guide to Being a Mompreneur. And again, I just want to welcome everyone to part 4 of this event. And before we get started, I always like to go and recognize all of our participants who are attending. So if you can, just put in the chat your name, where you're from, so I can recognize you throughout this event. So what I want to do is go ahead and let everyone know the objective of this Lunch and Learn series, and then I will introduce my guest moms for today. Okay, so the objective: during this virtual Lunch and Learn series, attendees will gain a better understanding of the strategies that have helped working mothers maintain a successful work-life balance. Attendees will leave each session with the knowledge needed to implement these same strategies in their life. Attendees can grab their lunch and join myself and my special guest moms for an exciting free learning event. Okay, so what I want to do is go ahead and introduce our guest speakers for today. Our first speaker is Quita Mack, MSW. And Quita is a life coach and founder of the Quita Mack. Quita Mack is also a major in the United States Army and mother of 3. Her goal is to inspire as many women as she can and let it be known we are more than just mommies. And as I introduce you, you can all wave at the attendees, say hello, however you want to do it. So our next mom is Courtney Marsh. Courtney is a full-time intervention teacher who enjoys working with young children. Aside from being an educator, Courtney is a mom to her 1-year-old son, Jace, wife to her husband, Tay, social media influencer, content creator, and entrepreneur. Last month, Courtney launched her first e-commerce business, Free Your Curls, LLC, where she sells organic baby body butter and silk sleeves for cribs and bassinets that prevent baby balding. And that's Courtney Marsh. Okay, next we have Tamara Rice. Tamara is the beauty behind the brand, Blissfully Incomplete. Tamara helps women share their real authentic selves on social media as a storytelling strategist, and she is also a wellness coach. She is the mommy to a 7-year-old daughter who is affectionately called Minnie. Tamara. All right, next we have Brittany Kellem. Brittany is the brand creator behind at Brittany K Moments. As a lifestyle and family blogger, Brittany's brand is dedicated to candidly sharing the journey in her marriage, overcoming infertility, and by inspiring others to live a life in faith. Brittany's prayer is that the transparency of her blog will help remind others as well as herself to not focus on what may not be going perfect, but those precious moments that are all around us. Brittany. And our last mother for today is Jenny LeFlore. Jenny is the mama behind Mama Fresh. She is a community builder, advocate, content creator, and mama. Mama Fresh is a community where the diversity in motherhood is celebrated, advice on exploring the city within your little one, partnered with hosting unique programming. Jenny's missions behind her content is to be that mama friend you did not know you needed. Jenny. So let's just welcome all of our guest speakers on today. And what I'm going to do is check the chat and see who we have online, who's joining us. So we have my sister, Kanita from Fredericksburg, Virginia. We have Florette Richardson, who's Courtney's Marsh mom. We also have Kenyatta Campbell on. We have Stephanie Lopez from Oregon Park, Florida. We also have my sister Marcella from Baltimore, Maryland. And I see Carly Florette, a business owner of 29 years and auntie of Courtney Marsh. And if I pronounce anyone's name, my apologies. So if anyone else is on, if you want me to shout you out, just put your name in the chat where you're from, and I'll do so throughout the event. And then also any of our participants who are joining, I do have everyone's video muted. So please keep your video muted. We only want to have the guest moms shown during the event. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go into our panel discussion question. Each of our guest moms will have 5 minutes to answer the following questions. How has being a working mom impacted you mentally, physically, and spiritually? What strategies have helped you to maintain a successful work-life balance? Tell us your story about mom life. And this first question is going to go to Tamara Rice.
So thank you for just letting me be here. I'm going to share my story first, if that's okay, just because I think it roots the other things. So I had my daughter at the age of 30. I was in a relationship and everything was going smoothly, and then all of a sudden it wasn't anymore. Things just weren't panning out the way that I anticipated. We ended up separating, and I found myself, when my daughter was 3 years old, I found myself as a newly single mom. And, you know, I had to kind of figure out what that path looked like, because for me, in my conception of what my life path was supposed to be, I did not imagine being a single mom. And so, you know, I really just decided that I had to do something to get back to who I was. I had my identity so wrapped up in my daughter that I didn't really know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know my interests, because it was all about her. And I think that's great, but I was a whole woman before I became a mom. And so I needed to get back to that. And so I decided, you know, while I felt like my world was kind of spinning upside down, I felt like the one thing I can control is my health. Like, if I can't do anything else, I can raise this baby and I can focus on my health. And so I decided to do that. I decided to start working out and watching my eating, and just started just doing like clean eating. I decided to use some plant-based supplements to help me with losing the 15 pounds that we could no longer call baby weight because she was 3. And so I was like, I had to do something to kind of, you know, boost my metabolism and all those types of things. And I found that as I started to do that, as I started to really just kind of focus on myself, I started to feel good about myself again. And so I think, you know, as a working mom, I've learned that I get to create what this looks like. I get to decide the kind of mom that I want to be. I get to decide what a working mom looks like for me. And it might not look like that for other people, and that's okay. I think being a working mom, I work full time at an educational nonprofit, and I think it just set me more into who I was. Things can be challenging as a mom and working full time, and also having a business on the side and having interests and wanting to work out and do all of these things. But I think the thing that I've settled on is I don't have to have one identity. I get to be all of the things that I want to be. I get to have all of the identities that I want to have, and nobody can really tell me that I can't. And so I think once I became settled in that, I grew spiritually. I have a whole morning routine that I follow to make sure that I'm centered in that. I am more confident in who I am, probably more than any other part of my life that I've been. I'm in shape, more so now than I have been before, because I have created habits that allow me to be all of those things. And so, you know, I make sure that when I'm with her, I'm present. And that means like phone goes away. I run a social media business. Like my business is on social media. I teach people social media. But when I'm with her, I am fully present. So phone goes off. Like we have our set nighttime routine where I give her my full attention. And I have very specific hours for when I'm working. And I have created boundaries that let people know that, no, actually, I'm not available for you anymore because my workday is done. You know, and I think it's hard to figure out what you need, especially like during this pandemic life. But if you can create the habits and you create the structures and you know who you want to be and you make sure that all of those things align, you will get back to having that balance that you said you wanted to have and being everything that you like dreamed that you could be.
Make sure I unmute myself. But thank you, Tamara. You hit it right on the point. You have to have those boundaries. You have to tell people no. You cannot be afraid to tell people no. So that way you don't lose yourself and overwhelm yourself in the things that you have to do. So yes, you hit that on. And then also, I just wanted to let everybody know that me and Tamara, we actually went to Georgia Southern together. So I'm so glad she was able to join. And we were in the same fraternity, Phi Sigma Pi. She was our president. So thank you, Tamara, for joining on today. Next, I'm going to have Shakita go ahead and answer the same question. How has being a working mom impacted you mentally, physically, and spiritually? What strategies have helped you to maintain a successful work-life balance? Tell us your story about mom life.
All right. Thank you for having me. I want to say that first. I remember in the beginning of my, I guess, motherhood journey, being stressed, overworked, confused, lost. I didn't know who I was. I got pregnant with my son at 20, and I was still in college at West Virginia State University. And all I knew is that I had to graduate, and I have to raise this young man, and I'm not going home. So with that, it was just so much of, how do I do this? What do I do? I literally was working 2 jobs. I worked at Charlotte Russe and I worked at Delia's, and I was going to school full time, no sleep. My husband now and then was doing the same thing. And we put so much into raising him and struggling. We didn't have money to eat. We didn't have money to wash our clothes. Because that's where everything went. And I get emotional when I talk about it because my journey is real. I'm sorry. At one point, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked to do, what made me smile. I lost my complete identity because I didn't know, I didn't have anyone to teach me that being a mother is also putting yourself first. I didn't realize that in order for me to be where I am today, I had to sit down and say, okay, what do you like? How are you going to enjoy what you're trying to become? You're setting an example for him, but what is it that Chiquita wants? What is it that she wants to do? How do you implement the self-care without being burnt out? This is all lessons I learned over, my son will be 13 next month. So over the 13 years, and I really started to push this, I would say within the last 6 years of really learning who I was. I have a routine now. I implement self-care. I do self-care Sundays, but I implement self-care all the time. And that's telling people, no, I don't have time. I can't do that. My focus is my child. I'm in the military. I'm a major. I put all my energy there as well. And being a life coach is something that I just recently started because I wanted to teach other women that you can do it too. We're more than just moms. I'm a mother, I'm a soldier, I'm a life coach, I'm a business owner, right? Like I can do that. And I started from nothing. And this is where I am today, at being at my age and everything like that. And so it's just really important, you know, everyone says a successful work-life balance. What is that? Well, I can't tell you what it is. I can only tell you what works for me. But having that positive mindset, having the can-do attitude, breaking the cycle and being determined to do that, those are all ways that I make my work-life balance work. So thanks.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to go back to the chat and just recognize some additional participants that we have, some additional attendees that we have joining us on today. We have Miss Stephanie Lopez, Shakita's mom. My mom is on Mahaya Gordon from Riceboro, Georgia. We have Dr. Ambrose Pass Turner from Columbus, Georgia. And we have Sandra Hope from Nashville, Tennessee, Brittany's mom. So again, thank you all for joining. Now I'm going to jump down to Brittany and ask her the same questions. How has being a working mom impacted you mentally, physically, and spiritually? What strategies have helped you to maintain a successful work-life balance? Tell us your story about mom life.
Hi, ladies. Thank you, Dr. Trenese, just for allowing me this opportunity. I always love when I'm able to connect with other moms, just hearing you all's story and knowing that it's so relatable. Sometimes you need that. A mom tribe is so important. I'm going to tell you that over and over, that the mom tribe is so important. One of the things I will say, being a mom, definitely, I will say, it has affected me mentally, physically, and spiritually. I would say more with my second one. When I have two. One of my kids is 3 years old, and I have a daughter who's 11 months. When I had my son, I feel like I was just on like this natural high after having him, because I had struggled with infertility. I had 27 fibroids removed at one point, and so just finally becoming a mom, even after he was here, I was still on this high, like I couldn't believe God had did that. After so many doctors told me no. So then once I had my daughter, I expected to be on that same high. Anytime you see God do something you thought was never possible and he does it again, it was just like, okay, I'm thinking I was going to be on that same high. But having a baby right before a pandemic, it took me for a ride. And mentally, I remember getting to my 6-month doctor's appointment, thinking, okay, she just wants to check everything. And she was wondering, she was like, your blood pressure was high. And I remember her asking me, like, how is it going managing a toddler and having a newborn? And I just remember sitting in that doctor's appointment, and I just bust out crying. And it took me and I just was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even know why I was crying, but all the tears, and even me feeling it now, just thinking about that day. And she said, I want to tell you something, and it's not nothing that any other woman hasn't experienced before giving birth, but she said, you have postpartum. And I was like, no way, because I'm so excited about my kids. I love my kids. I'm thinking that postpartum was associated with, you didn't really want your child at the time, or you wasn't really prepared to be pregnant. I'm like, all of this was planned. I saw God, touch my womb. It didn't matter about the cyst. It didn't matter about the fibroids. And she said, no, you have postpartum. And I remember walking out the doctor that day, and my mom had went to the doctor's appointment with me that day. My husband was at work, and they typically, they're big on not letting me go to doctor's appointments alone. So I just can't imagine this pandemic, what moms are experiencing. But I came out the doctor's appointment, and I just bust out crying again. And I was like, Mom, I have postpartum. And she was like, I knew, she was like, it's normal. And so I was like, postpartum's normal? That's like a depression, like I'm thinking, what? Like, no, not me. I don't have that. I was in denial for a while. For weeks I was. And the pandemic didn't do nothing but spike that for me. knowing that friends couldn't come over, knowing that nobody was going to meet my baby. I couldn't leave the house. And even now, I'm still like trying to adjust to this being a pandemic. Like, I literally get dressed with my family, and the highlight of my day is me and my family taking these photo shoots and promoting my blog to connect with other moms and stuff. But I don't go anywhere. I won't go to the grocery store. I won't go, like, I haven't been like casually through no mall or anything. I order my food online. Like, the pandemic is, it has affected me. It's affected me mentally, just being a mom, working from home, trying to balance, like, I'm typing on a Zoom meeting and my son is sitting right here. I'm trying to decide, should I give him his tablet? How long will he want to be on his tablet? If I give him a phone, how long will he want to play on this phone? Okay, then my daughter's calling. I want to make sure she's meeting milestones. So I'm emailing my manager back while I'm watching my daughter. I'm still breastfeeding 11 months in. I'm just like, oh, I won't be able to do this. My son did 20 months nursing. I'm like, 21 months nursing. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go that long. It started affecting my milk production because stress affects your milk. And so I'm just like, okay, you know, God, I need to just be honest with myself that, okay, I can grab hold of postpartum. Postpartum doesn't just have to grab hold of me. And so I just spiritually began to say what us moms do not like to ask for, and that's for help. I go to my husband, I need you to get them, I need a minute. This isn't just a time I need to just go hide in the bathroom. I want to go hide in the bed. I tell my mom and dad, hey, I need you to get our kids. Me and my husband, we want to work on our brand. We want to do some things. I just need to woosah. Because that was the big thing when I first had my newborn, that I didn't want to ask for help. And quiet times do look different. Sometimes I have my devotional open and one of them is jumping off the bed or trying to crawl up the steps, but I just make it work. And if I had any advice to give, it was that I live through my planner. If I don't write it down, more than likely I can't do it. And just like Shaquita said, I say no. Like, no, I can't do that. I protect my energy. Going through something with depression, you have to protect your energy. I probably was a yes person at one time but this year I chose me. That I chose my kids, I chose my family, I chose my health, because I can't pour from an empty cup. And although, if you come on my social media account, I am like the photo shoot mom, but I tell the real story in the caption. So I just use the pictures to draw you in, but the caption tells you. So I don't want anybody to misconstrue like I have this 100% picture perfect life. No, I'm going through what every other mom is experiencing. I'm just making sure that I enjoy the moment, because like 2020 taught us, hey, 2019, there was stuff that we didn't never imagine to be grateful for, and we have so much more to be grateful for. So I would just tell you moms to definitely get you a planner, write out it, make sure you prioritize what's important should be at the top. Don't try to overdo your to-do list, because guess what? Some days might just be you being a mom, and that is fine too. Don't think, I know we're trying to work, we're trying to get these entrepreneurships going, but sometimes it's just you being a mom and you said, hey, I took 15 minutes today and just woosah'd. I had moments to myself, and just knowing that everything you are experiencing is normal. Get you a mom tribe. I'm still working on that. So I don't want to pretend like I got it all together with me on here. I'm still winging it too. I'm still trying to figure out some things, but I definitely depend on my mom a lot, because, she tells me like, hey, there's other moms just like you, contrary to what social media show. Like, I don't really consider myself to have a lot of friends and things like that. So the loneliness that moms feel, I feel that, but, gather you a mom tribe, get you a planner, and we got this. 2020 didn't try to do nothing but make it harder for us, but I definitely know if we take it one step at a time and make sure that we fill our cup up each day, that we're going to be okay.
Thank you so much for sharing that story, because having that mom tribe is a must. I know there's so many moms who don't want to ask for that help, and we need that help. I don't really have any friends. It's me, my husband, and my kids, and I'm home all day dealing with their schoolwork, dealing with my job, my businesses, and that's it. And my mom and my sisters and stuff. So we do need that mom tribe so we can have those moms to talk to and help us in our situation so we can help them as well. So thank you for sharing that. So now I am going to jump to Courtney. How has being a working mom impacted you mentally, physically, and spiritually? What strategies have helped you to maintain a successful work-life balance? Tell us your story about mom life.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be on this call. Thank you, Dr. McNealy, for inviting me. Thank you all for just spending your Saturday tuning in to just listen to what we have to say and take any advice that we have to give. My name is Courtney. I'm 27 years old. I am a full-time teacher. I'm a mother. I just recently launched my business, and I am a mother to my 1-year-old son, Jace. I did have him right before the pandemic hit. And one thing that I want to just share with you all is, as a mom, it is very hard, and you wear a lot of hats. And I just want to be encouraging and letting you all know that it doesn't take you being perfect to be a good mom. You don't have to be a perfect mom to be a good mom, and your child will love you either way it goes. There are going to be some restless nights. There are going to be some very tiring nights that you might want to give up, or you just ask, what did I do wrong? But that's okay, because you're not the only one. When I had my son, everything was picture perfect, because at school, we shut down. So instead of me having 6 weeks of maternity leave, I had 6 months. So it was beautiful. I was enjoying the moment. I was fortunate enough to start my own business. Things were rolling. And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, it was time for me to go back to school. I had to put my child in daycare, and it was really hard for me. I dealt with a lot of anxiety having my son go to daycare, and just the reality of I have to have him in a stranger's hands. And it was really hard for me to learn how to adjust to that because, like I said earlier, it was just me and my son for 6 months. I was loving everything about it. You know, I was just in the moment. And then before I knew it, I had to have him enrolled back into daycare. And I just wasn't fortunate enough to be a stay-home mom. And, you know, I used to envy stay-home moms because that's what I once wanted. That's what I once lived. And that's what I loved. But I also love what I do. I help young children learn how to read. I help them bridge those gaps and bridge the deficits. So I was torn. And so as I was prepared to go back to school, every morning I would just break down crying. It was so hard for me, but I had to find myself. I had to pray. I had to just trust God because of the situation that I was in. And through that, I was able to successfully overcome those battles. You know, I fell in love with his teacher. I was blessed and fortunate to have a good experience as a working mom who has to put their child in daycare. And one thing that I want to say is mentally, you really want to make sure that you have mental clarity, whether you want to start a business or whatever it is you want to do in life. You want to focus on yourself. You want to make sure your health is and your well-being is intact because your child needs you. You can always have another job, another business opportunity, but if you're not intact, if your mental clarity is not there, it will reflect on your child. So the better you take care of yourself, the better you can take care of things around you. So over time, I've had to learn, and I'm still learning, how to be strong. I've developed a morning routine. Every morning when I wake up, I start with gratitude, appreciation. Thank you, God, for allowing me to see another morning. Thank you for my family. All of these positive affirmations, and that itself would set the vibe and set the mood for my day. So whenever something negative happened, I would always just revert back to, Courtney, what did you tell yourself this morning? And that's something that I recommend you all doing, just having some form of gratitude, whether it's through prayer, whether you write it down, just developing some type of routine that will strengthen you inside, that will strengthen you mentally. And also, I just want to encourage you all to just work hard, accomplish those goals. Everything does not have to be done in one day. you have to learn how to prioritize. And that's one thing as a mom, you know, people can tell you, oh, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. But until you have your child, it's just, you have to be able to understand and know yourself and know what matters, what can wait tomorrow, what can wait until next week. You have to have discipline, structure. Physically, when your health is intact, your overall performance is better. You'll perform at a higher level. I mean, spiritually, I personally had to learn how to connect with myself. And like I said earlier, I just developed a morning routine. I would always thank God for the opportunities he gave me. I would pray to him just for peace to relieve me from my anxiety. And since then, I've been granted wonderful opportunities to work out so beautifully. And I just hope and pray that if anyone is dealing with the same thing, that you overcome it. And I know it's hard. With a pandemic, you don't have many outlets and you don't have many people to reach out to. But I do hope that you do find a strong circle, whether it's through family, whether it's through friends, because it will get better. Even if it's rough right now, things will get better. Another thing that I like to do is I started writing things down. I started writing my goals down. I started writing down my plans, what I wanted to do to help myself, to help my family, to help my son. And then I just prioritize. Courtney, what can you do now? What can you do tomorrow? What do you not have to do at all? So those are just some things that I've been dealing with, that I've gone through. And if you're dealing with the same thing, just know I understand. And I just pray that whatever goals you have, you reach them this year and you have just a wonderful year. And thank you again for attending.
Thank you, Courtney. So this session has been really an emotional session, but I know all of our attendees are just being inspired because, like Dr. Pass Turner stated in the chat, that we all have a story to tell. So just keep sharing and inspiring your stories so others can learn from them. We also have Raven McGee, who has joined us, Brittany's cousin. So thank you for attending. Now I am going to ask the same question to Jeannie. So how has being a working mom impacted you mentally, physically, and spiritually? What strategies have helped you to maintain a successful work-life balance? Tell us your story about mom life.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say I'm so glad that I've been on mute, because I've been like, amen, yes, girl, all right. I'm like waving my church hand in the air. So if I wasn't on mute already, she would have had to mute me, because I was just like testifying to y'all's story. I got pen and paper out. I'm taking notes. So I just want to say thank you for everyone for being so transparent, so honest, and because that's a huge deal. My name is Jenny LeFlore. I am in Chicago. I'm like a Chicago girl through and through, like every stereotype you think of Chicago kids, that's me. And I'm a mom of two. So like Brittany, but I had my baby in the pandemic. So March 13th was the first day they like shut down. Courtney like told us we weren't going back to school, that, you know, everything. But that was, so that day we were like, we're going to be in the house for 2 weeks. We thought, you know, we're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And Mary's nodded because remember. So my husband, full honesty, like went to the grocery store and and bought me wine. Because I was like, if I'm being in the house for 2 weeks, I'm going to have like a couple glasses of wine. I'm going to chill. And I took a sip of wine and I was like, this tastes so weird. And it was a wine that I have all the time. And he's like, I'm like, is it stale? He tasted it. I'm like, Lord, I think I'm pregnant. He's like, what? I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. I was like, I'll just take a test in the morning. I'm fine. I'm not going to drink this wine, but I think I'm pregnant. He's like, no, we have to. So he went to Walgreens, and yes, so the day of quarantine, I found out I was pregnant. So I haven't known the pandemic without being pregnant. I had my son 8 weeks ago. He's awesome. He's so cute. But like Brittany, I have a huge family and nobody's seen my baby. I have cousins who did not even see me pregnant the whole time. So being pregnant and having a baby during a pandemic has just threw me for a loop. I have a 4-year-old, OBQ, who is awesome and full of personality. And so I thought that I had done this before, I would be good, but I've never done this alone. I have a huge community. I have tons of cousins. My mom lives 40 minutes away. My mother-in-law lives 15 minutes away. my best friends, I live in Bronzeville, like every Southside mother, I can throw a rock and hit one of my girlfriends, but I never thought that I would have to have a baby alone. And that's where we are. You know, it's me and my husband. I'm in his office, and you can see it's like an office phone and a pacifier, because that has been our life, and a shaker egg because we have a toddler. So balancing it all has been something. My journey to motherhood, I was never a little girl who grew up thinking, I know I wanted to have a family, but I was in no rush. I like lived my 20s. I lived my 30s. You know, I was just fine. I met my husband, and I did not have my son until I was 36. So I'm 40 now, but I was 36 when I had my son. And so the difference was I was already very comfortable in the woman that I was. And so I was very confident in her. And so when I had this kid, I knew I wanted to do things kind of different from how I grew up. And, but there were also things that just being an older mom that just comes with the territory. It was kind of harder for me to be more flexible because I was so set in my ways, and my husband and I, you know, had our own lives before we became parents. So when my son was through the mix, it was an adjustment, but we were still just fine. I have a brand, Mama Fresh, and it's because I'm taking a fresh approach. My mom told me, when you have this baby, he is going to sit you down. You're going to slow down. You're not going to be all over the city and all in these streets. And you know what? It was wrong. One of the few times my mama was wrong, because I strapped a baby carrier and I would be at festivals with my baby in this hand and a back. I traded my handbags for backpacks, and I was all over the city with my kid. And that was my journey that I got to define for myself. And that was something I was really excited about. Oh yeah, same thing. That's what Tamara was saying. Your mom said the same thing. Yeah, me and my son was kicking it. Like my mom would be like, "Oh, your child is in the streets all the time," and he knows museums, festivals. Everyone knows OBQ loves to party. How being a mom has affected me mentally. Like Courtney, I suffered with postpartum anxiety, which I didn't even know was a thing. When I thought I had postpartum depression, like Brittany said, I thought it was a mama in a room rocking an invisible baby, you know, like a zombie. But when I had my son, I was in the fashion industry and I traveled immensely. And my maternity leave was up. I had 6 weeks of self-funded maternity leave, which is terrible, but 6 weeks. And then I went back to work on a Wednesday, and on Friday I was on a plane. So I had to leave my baby of 6 weeks. My husband also traveled, and our planes crossed for 3 hours. We were gonna meet in the airport. So my mother-in-law had to come and sit with my baby. I had to pump hundreds of ounces of milk because I breastfeed just to leave. So I had so much anxiety, 143 ounces. I got to pump 143 ounces before I leave, and that anxiety, I had never heard of the term postpartum anxiety before I got diagnosed with it. And so I knew this time I was more prepared with the therapist. I did not want to go through the things that I went through with my son, with my first son. But so mentally, I'm trying. That's it. Like, just to say that I'm trying, I am so transparent that, some days I am firing on all cylinders. Like, I looked at Brittany's Instagram and her family is so picture perfect. They are so cute. She has the hat that matches the baby's pants, that matches her husband's turtleneck. And my child is like a hot mess express wearing dinosaur underwear and no shirt. But every mom has their own thing, and so I love to hear that, that's how she finds comfort. And so I love just being transparent as possible. Physically, my husband, there are 4 years difference between my kids, and my husband was ready to get started before I was on the second one. He took me out to a date, which was a trap. And he was like, I think we're ready again. It's OBQ's at an age, we're not getting younger. We might as well do this, like the song say. And you know what? I was not ready because, Megan Thee Stallion had just came out with Hot Girl Summer. You know what I mean? I had finally gotten my waistline back. I was not ready. I was like, you know what? I breastfed for 24 months. So I'm finally got him off the boob. He's at a school that I like. My parents are finally babysitting. No, I said, don't talk to me about this until I have a puffy coat on. I deserve this summer. I wanted to just live my life, you know? And so I just had to be honest. Now I'm 8 weeks out. My body doesn't look the same, you know, it is what it is, but I'm not focused on losing weight. I'm focused on more mentally taking the time out for me, developing a routine, and just get into the mental part of it. I do yoga with my son on my back. I do all of these things just the way I can. I want to feel hot again. And you can do that at any weight, you know? So physically, I'm figuring it out. And then what was the last thing? Emotionally, y'all already see, this is it. You know what I mean? I really lean on people. I really talk to, you know, I nurse, so I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm blessed to have friends on all different time zones, so I know who I can text. And I'm just honest. And I just really try to share as much as I can. So a mom knows that I'm not the only one feeling this way. And like Courtney said, I don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. My kids are resilient. They will survive, you know. I've breastfed for 25 months. I cooked homemade food, organic food after that, baby food for my child. And guess what? He's 4 and all he eats is chicken nuggets and corn dogs. He will survive. It will be fine. You know what I mean? There's no trophies in this. Every mom is a good mom. Being a mom is hard. Every mom is a working mom. So whatever you're doing on your journey, that's the right thing for you. That's it. That's my thing.
Thank you for that. Great story. So we are nearing the end of this session. It's been great listening to all of you ladies' stories, but I do want to take at least one of our audience question. I'm going to get the question from Dominique Logan out of Columbus, Georgia. Her question is, in what ways are you able to refocus and exercise patience when your frustrations are high? And then Jenny, we can start with you.
This is such a pertinent question because right now we're e-learning at home. So my kid is at home. We're doing virtual. He's in virtual pre-K, whatever that looks like. My husband is working from home, and usually he would be out the house 40 to 50 hours a week working. And I'm at home with a newborn. So the stakes are high. There's a lot of stress, and we're all in a Chicago condo. So we're literally on top of each other. So there are times when I'm overstimulated just with noise because my husband's on a conference call, my son's watching a video, my baby's crying. And there are times when I'm stressed, like I can feel it in my body and everyone has to stop. And like you're saying, I need a minute, I need a second. And like, Brittany, I don't have to tell you what I need the second for. I don't have to hide in the bathroom. Self-care is not a shower for moms. That's just basic human rights. You know what I mean? So you get to define what self-care means for you, and you have to ask for it. But you have to talk to yourself in your internal dialogue and bring yourself down and say, what do I need right now to bring it down? And I couldn't figure this out at first because I didn't want to take it out on my toddler, my 4-year-old. So what I was doing was smiling. I was telling him, you got to sit down right now or mama's going to snap. And he's like, you know what? This is confusing. This is what he says. This is confusing because you're smiling, but you're still saying really mean things. And I was like, okay, that tactic didn't work, you know? So what I'm doing is I'm really just stopping, taking a moment and being honest with everyone. My 4-year-old, I can say to him, mama needs a second. Like mama just needs a minute just to calm down. So you're going to take this iPad and you're going to give me 30 minutes and we're going to put a timer on Alexa. And I'm just going to take that time to listen to some music and vibe out. So mama needs time. I'll be honest with my husband, because if not, all that builds up, then it explodes towards him. And then it becomes something between me and him. And right now he's the only partner I got in this situation because we're in the house together. So I'm vocal about my needs. I'm honest and I take the time that I need for me.
Okay, good. Courtney.
Hi. So one thing that I have had to do is when I'm frustrated, I have to look and see, is this something that I can control or if it's something that I can't control? One thing that I've had to learn is not to focus on the uncontrollables, because if it's out of my control, there's nothing I can do about it. So I have to look and prioritize and see, what can I change? What can I control? Or what can I change within myself to not feel this way? And when I would get frustrated, I'd always revert back to my affirmation. I'm a big affirmation person. When I wake up and I show that morning gratitude to God and I set the tone for the day, whenever I'm frustrated, regardless what it is, I try to revert back to that and just remind myself, Courtney, this is the type of day we said that we were going to have. Let's stick to it. And if it's something that I can't control, I just let it go and I trust that it's going to work itself out.
Okay. Brittany.
So with me, I do take time. I know there's a lot of moms that's like, I'm against screen time. I'm against abusing screen time, but I believe in screen time. So just like Jenny said, yeah, I give him the tablet because I rather take a minute to zone out and just reset. Calm down. Counting to 10 doesn't always work. Because I don't want to take it out on my son or my daughter who didn't even ask to be here, that my manager won't stop emailing me requests, that I'm trying to balance entrepreneurship, that I'm trying to balance being a wife, because they don't care. They don't have nothing to do with that. They're kids, they're innocent in the situation, and kids are going to be kids. So I do just make sure that I set my day. And when I set my day, that means I start with meditation. I'm not sure where everyone stands with that, but that's where I set my day. Because, knowing that he said, seek me first, I seek him first, because, getting on Instagram, getting on TikTok, getting on all that stuff, that don't set my day, because I still have a toddler that's going to be mommy, mommy, mommy. And I have a baby that still wants to nurse cluster feed like she just started breastfeeding. So really set the tone for your day in the morning time. That means if it's a scripture, if it's a positive affirmation you want to tell yourself, just set that tone. And anytime you feel like that energy switches, you think about the tone that you set. Think about whatever it is that you read positively that morning. That is what you need to just tell yourself, because all of this, being in the house, being in quarantine, being in a pandemic with our kids, working from home, sending our kids to daycare, all of these decisions that we having to make. And, I had it different from Courtney. I made the decision, I'm like, they can just stay here. But that wore on me, because there's a lot of days I'm like, I really should have put them in daycare because I'm mentally tired. But then I'm like, I have too much anxiety with everyone not even knowing how to wear a mask. And it's just like, each of us had to make different decisions in our journeys, and just being supportive of each other's decision, and just understanding, hey, these decisions that we're making, there's other people we can talk to about them and just vent to, but just making sure that we start our day off positive and just keep trying to think about those positives.
Okay. Shakita?
For myself, I really had to learn to communicate what I need, especially when I get frustrated. Before it was like, okay, I'm a mom, I'm a power mom, so I'm not gonna let my kids know when I'm frustrated. I'm just gonna go, do, and keeping all that in. So my kids are old enough. I have a 12-year-old, I have a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old. They're old enough for me now, and now I realize to say, not only are you doing too much, but I need a moment. So you go get on a video game, go upstairs and play, and you just go do something, because I can't right now. And I really had to learn, and I tell them, in order for this house to work like a well-oiled machine, everyone has to do their part. And if you want mommy to continue to work and function, I have to hold you accountable too. And so when I get frustrated and hot, they know the look, like, oh, mommy, you're giving us the look. Yeah, because you need to go here, here, and here, so I can just breathe and get to where I need to get to.
Okay, and Tamara.
So When I get frustrated, one of the things that I do is I write myself a note. And so I will literally grab anything like Post-it, scrap of paper, daughter's project sometimes, like whatever it is, grab a pen, and I'll just kind of walk myself through a couple of questions. And it's just like, is this that serious right now? Like, and I just answer them. Is it that serious? Like, what are you feeling? So I can actually name the emotion that I'm feeling. And then what do I need right now? And for me, what I've realized is that if I can actually take the time to grab a pen, get something to write on, it helps to slow my brain down enough to calm down. So like the counting thing doesn't work for me. Walking away doesn't always work for me. But if I can actually like put pen to paper and kind of like what you were saying too, Courtney, like write down an affirmation, once I can kind of sort through all of that. And it'll take some time, as you start to do it. But for now, like for me, it's really quick and I can bring myself down very quickly to then be able to figure out, all right, what do I need to do with this? Is it something that I'm just leaving alone? Particularly for work things. Like I wrote myself a note the other day and I was like, you are frustrated, but you don't care. Like these people gonna do what they want to do. You don't care that much. Just be quiet. Like, and I wrote that to myself and stuck it on my laptop and I was quiet for the rest of the meeting because it didn't matter. It wasn't a thing that I wanted to spend my energy on. And so I think if you can, try that out. It's a new thing that I've just started to do, but it's been really helpful for me.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do now, we're about to end this session. I want each of you to just quickly tell all of the attendees what you have upcoming and how they can connect with you. And then Tamara, you can start and we can just go right down the line.
So right now you can connect with me on Instagram at Blissfully Incomplete. I am relaunching my website. I'm really excited about that website and blog. So relaunching that, and I mentioned earlier, providing different services. I do life coaching for women, and then I also am teaching women how to own their story and tell their story on social media to their audience. And so you will be able to find me soon at my website, but right now Instagram is great.
Okay, Courtney.
Hi, so as mentioned earlier, I just recently launched my first business, my e-commerce business. So next steps for me, I'm just looking at expansion, just reaching different platforms. If you ever want to get in touch with me, and I'll put my Instagram name in the chat box, it's Free Your Curls on Instagram. And if you ever have any questions, if you want any advice on whether it's parenting, mom, as a wife, or entrepreneur, feel free to reach out. But like I said earlier, it's at Free Your Curls, and thank you all so much for attending.
All right, Jeannie.
You all can find me on Instagram at Mama, M-A-M-A, Mama Fresh Shy. You can, Brittany, I'm going to DM you because you now have an extra mama friend you didn't even ask for. So you can always reach out to me. So you can find me there. My website is mamafreshchicago.com. I'm just coming off of like maternity leave, like a fake maternity leave I kind of set up for myself. But once I'm full back in swing, I love doing it in the Chicago area. I love doing like the daytime shows, Windy City Live or like NBC News. So you can find me there as well. And we're going to start this 6-week Instagram Live called Strong as a Mother. And where I'll bring in experts to talk to us every week about different things that in the motherhood journey that I wish I knew from experts, not just from friends and their stories. So look for all of that fun stuff. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys all for being here.
Okay, Brittany.
Okay, ladies, you can find me also on Instagram under Brittany K Moments. There you'll just see my family, anything from my marriage. If I can make a joke out of anything from crying, I will. I love laughing. So that is me because I cry enough by myself. So, I did really enjoy this, Dr. Trenese. I can't thank you enough. It really has blessed me. Just hearing other moms. Some of the projects I do have coming up. I'm writing a book right now with my husband on how we waited. So that's interesting. But I know you can catch me on my blog also, Brittany K Moments, and there you'll not get so much of a photo shoot. Mom is like the real story. Like this is how it is managing two. So again, thank you all, and I'm so happy to connect with you all.
Okay, and Shakita.
You can find me on IG at the Chiquita Mack. And you can also find me on my website, which is www.thechiquitamack. Later, I guess if I can stay on track, but I'm looking to launch my first ebook, which is it's going to be a workbook, and it's called The Beauty in You. And it's just to help women rediscover themselves and find themselves again after motherhood. So thank you all.
Thank you, ladies, for participating in part 4 of this session on today. It has been such a great time just listening to all of your stories, and I know our attendees have learned a lot. For me, my next event will be March the 20th. That's where we will end our part 5 series. So registration is open for any of the attendees who would like to attend our final Lunch and Learn event. On next Saturday, I will have my virtual one-day summit, and it is moving from a pandemic towards a sustainable future. I have 16 phenomenal speakers lined up, and they're just going to provide moms with the strategies that will help them for business, and for their family to have that sustainable future. And also on May 8th, I will have my virtual Mommies and Mimosas Mother's Day Luncheon. So I have some good events coming up. And I'm also working on my upcoming book, A Mother's Struggle Towards Success. And this book is just telling the success stories for moms, because we as moms, we struggle so much to be that success for our family. So in this book, I'm just getting success stories for moms who would like to share their story anonymously. So if there's any moms in this event today who would like to share their story, you can reach out to me at info@drtrenesemcnealy.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook at drtrenesemcnealy. So again, thank you all for attending. I hope all of you enjoyed this event on today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again, ladies. Bye-bye.